The Acolyte is dead. Season 2 is cancelled, and the gayest Star Wars ever has been proven to be a tremendous, enormous, earth-shattering flop. Oh, glory be. Thank God, and more importantly, thank you, because make absolutely no mistake here, the powers that be, Leslye, Headland, Kathleen, Kennedy, all the diversity departments at Disney wanted this to succeed. They wanted this to be the show that would carry on for the next 30 goddamn years. And yet, before it even got a chance to truly begin stinking up the living room, it was shuffled off to the corpse pile, where it so most assuredly so belonged. Now, I suspect you probably heard this news already today. In fact, I suspect you're going to be hearing it quite a few more times today, and over the course of the next few days, weeks, and, well, months, actually, as the Acolytes shuffling off this mortal coil will probably form the centrum of a fair bit, if not damn near all, Star Wars-related conversations for quite some time, as this was much more than merely a show being cancelled, which does indeed happen all the time, of course. This was a vital and decisive battle in our ongoing culture wars, and the opposition understands that just as well as we do, because the Acolyte was not just a bad piece of entertainment. There are plenty of those around, more now than ever. It was Disney turning to the wokes and the DEI departments and going, okay, you've been telling us for years now that if we just do what you tell us to do, we will see this massive surge of the wider audience. The normal people, the progressives, will come out of the woodworks and allow us to finally replace those dirty, filthy, disgusting, white, cis, heteronormative men who have been our primary audience so far. Where are they? And the DI department goes, well, you haven't really given us all we want yet. And Disney going, okay, here is a blank check. Do with it whatever you want. And by God, did they. The covenant of gay lesbian space witches, which sounds more and more like a joke every time you say it, was, it might not have been peak Star Wars, but it was certainly peak something, that's for sure. And, well, the people are rather upset about this as well. There is a tremendous amount of coping and seething on the internet, including, this one's probably my favorite, me in the Disney headquarters after they cancelled The Acolyte, even though it was actually very popular. This is the perfect exemplar of the DEI marketing scheme going, oh, no, the wider audience is absolutely out there. They're totally out there. They're so out there. There are so many people who agree with us. And now that they'd finally been given everything they wanted, nobody showed up. Nobody. And in fact, this only served as further proof that it is the opposition that has the power. It is us, in fact, that get to determine whether or not a show is worth our time. This is perhaps the most sane summary of quite a few articles now, which are crying out about this terrible injustice, and also, I'm noticing this one is becoming more and more of like a headline thing. There's a chilling feeling with this cancellation, one that's genuinely foreboding. The Acolyte was a far from perfect show, it had pacing issues, blah blah blah, but it was also the single most ambitious and exciting Star Wars series. This will be the new narrative, that The Acolyte was totally a really interesting show, you see. It has some really good ideas, totally, which we'll now never get to see come to fruition. You don't even believe that yourself, because if you did, you would have written articles about it when the show was being released. Instead, the only thing anybody ever defended was Shirtless Man. And that was about it. But to return to this, by using the term cancelled, it emboldens a certain portion of the fan base that purposely review bombed and did everything they could to trash the series. Hi. Simply because it had a predominantly POC cast and was created by Leslye Headland, who is an openly gay woman, who also hired her wife for roles, mind you, but bear that in mind as well. But POC, as much as I do love that word, as it really does sound like just a solid racial slur. The pox had nothing to do with it. It also sounds like a disease if you say it a little bit quickly. The fact that you made the single most diverse show ever, as in the only white dudes either committed suicide when told to by the superior black woman, or was covered up in a fursuit and died off screen, well, that is certainly a point against your show, as it kind of also undermines your whole entire diversity argument, but details, not like we think you actually have standards, or that you have any faith in your own beliefs. Of course, we've long since decoded what the meaning of diversity is, e.g., no white people. But that wasn't even the primary concern. See, if you had made a good show, but it was still woke, we would probably still push back against it for the simple reason that we don't like you politicizing entertainment, and the only way to get you to stop doing it is by making it literally financial suicide to do so. But it would have been a hell of a lot more difficult to do if your show wasn't actually objective, absolute garbage. Luckily, politicizing something often turns it into garbage, regardless of the intent of the creator. Deadline notes that by framing the news as a reflection of the show's failure, they'll get more clicks to their website. Well, to be fair, probably do, yes. Of course, shows get cancelled all the time for a variety of reasons. It is the nature of the business, but for me, it's about, and wait for it, the ethics of journalism. Why, listen to this, filthy gamergator. We are starting to worry about the ethics of journalism, are we? Okay, well, I mean, hey, you know what? If left and right can unify around a shared passion for their hatred of journalists, you know, that might finally be the bonding experience that will finally bring the two sides back together again. Hey, as different as we are, we have some things in common, apparently. But the thing is, of course, this on a far wider scale here, this is going to signify Disney's turn away from DEI. I guarantee it. Now, there is still going to be a fair few woke shows, because Disney works on such a long schedule, all of these companies do, that is going to be 5, at least probably 10 years before we see a quote-unquote conservative Star Wars show, or even just a Star Wars show, frankly, because they are going to need to find writers to write it, they are going to find the actors to act in it, they are going to need to shake up basically that entire production, casting, and writing process before they can deliver a product that we actually want to see. But this was Disney going all in on diversity and seeing if it could live or die on its own merit. As I want to point out as well, a lot of the time here, as we've seen with The Rings of Power, for example, these shows aren't merely funded for a season. They're funded for 2 or even 3 seasons at a time because they are so sure that the brand will be able to carry almost any burden. Even X-Men 97 was pre-funded for 3 seasons, a show nobody had any faith in until miraculously it actually turned out to be decent. And yet, the full-on DEI Acolyte was only funded for 1. This was very, very clearly so a test case to see if the wokists could finally deliver on their promises. They have now, once and for all, proven, categorically so, that not only can they not deliver, but that we are in the majority, that we are the one who determines whether a show fails or lives. Hey, let's even take this headline at its face value, alright? The toxic fans get to determine whether or not your show succeeds or not. You know what that means, Disney? That means it's time to cater to the toxic fandom if you wish to continue to be a company. This is a very, very good day. A very, very, very good day. As a great evil has indeed been slain, and the dawn, it's not merely on the horizon anymore. We're actually starting to see the sun at long last. So give yourself all a nice solid pat on the back and be happy for a day. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.